Good evening, one and all. Welcome along. We are in Season 3, Episode 55 of the UK Dallas Cowboys Fan Club TV. Tonight I'm joined by my two Welsh brethren. We have Mike Poland, and of course we have return of Mr. Rich Jones. How are things?
Yeah, it's all good. It's nice. The sun has come out, so we actually have sunshine for a change.
This is mad, especially in South Wales for anyone who, obviously in the UK who knows, this is mad. This is basically our summer. We're getting it in while we can.
Yeah. For the next 2 days.
Yeah, then we're screwed.
Yeah, then it's rain again.
Are you guys getting blasted by the snow as well? That's supposedly on its way.
Yeah, apparently Thursday, I think they said it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, yesterday.
Damn squib.
For all we know, it could be happening right now.
Yeah.
yeah. If I momentarily lose my, what, it's because it's snowing. That'll be how you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've lost Rich.
Yeah, we've lost Rich. It's snowing.
But no, it is. It's great to gather the whole family together, as we say. Before we do go any further, Rich, you haven't been on this off season, and we did say we were going to give you a bit of time to discuss the free agency period and a few concerns you have. So the floor is yours, good sir.
Oh, why are you doing this to me, Brian? Why are you gonna right? Okay, yeah, I'm having fucking kittens about the O-line. I'm sorry. I already dropped my first F-bomb. I said I wasn't going to do it tonight to myself. God damn it. I'm having kittens. Lyle Collins is gone. I'm not happy with it. Surprise, surprise. I get it, but I'm not happy with it.
Yeah.
When there's already other problems. I don't know what the heck they're going to do. They haven't addressed it yet, which is kind of an issue in itself. They've created a problem, in my opinion, at wide receiver as well, just to add to the list, because that's fun to do.
Big wheel.
So yeah,
Yeah, and
Fun times.
I'll be honest. I was tuning in on Thursday night, Mike, and I know you guys were talking a bit, and I think you did talk a little bit of O-line. And this is the one question I have I'll throw it to both of you because it's a concern I have. I mean, look, I was on the Tyler Linderbaum train before the season started. But if that is the draft pick, that doesn't really resolve anything for you because you're still missing your right tackle and left guard. So,
this is the thing. This is the thing is that, just to cover it quickly, is obviously they're going to roll with the center. That kind of to a degree. I think for most people, that kind of is what it is. Yeah, they might take Linderbaum, but like you said, that would be a bit of a rubbish move in my opinion when you don't know who's playing right tackle. You've got no proven right tackle, and you don't know what's happening at left guard. And part of that is because you let Mr. Collins go, which is where I personally wanted to put him. But even if you kept him at right tackle, you've got one less position to worry about on the line. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. You get people wanting to play. People wanting to play Steele over on right tackle, is it? Okay, what are you going to do then when Mr. Smith inevitably doesn't play full 17 games? Who you now playing at left tackle? How much are we going to play musical chairs? They've not got 5 good linemen on this team right now. And they also need to draft other positions. It's not stacking up well for them at the minute, unless they make some big steps in free agency, which they haven't done yet.
Yeah. Your brother from another mother, Mr. Wilson, is backing you up there tonight, Rich. Talking over. Yeah.
I got the screen minimized, so I can't see it. So you might have to tell me. Just pretend I'm basically blind because I got my notes on the other side because I haven't had time to write them all down.
Right. It's right, as long as you don't put us in the fridge again.
It was the freezer. Thank you.
Graham is literally saying, "Preach, Rich." So, we could give you the whole show if you want.
No, let's not do that because I don't want to. I don't want to go that deep. We've done that already. Really.
Yeah. But the other one we had in there from DJ Dog is talking about the linebackers. It's his favorite position group, and this is what we are here to talk about tonight. Is we've obviously done, say, the top 6 linebackers. We're going to look at the next 6 linebackers. Before we do, we'll just have a quick look at the news that has happened over the last few days. Like, there haven't been any further free agent additions. There has been the new rule, which has been announced today, that every team will get a possession in overtime. So I'm not sure if they're switching to the full college system.
No, only in postseason.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So they're trialing it, but just postseason when it matters most.
Exactly. Yeah. That sounds like the NFL we all know and love.
Yeah. And they are keeping the kickoff rules as well. Safety reasons and all the rest of it, and it is working, and it works. So there we go.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
Safety first, as they say.
Yeah, it's not
safety first, but I still
sport.
think you should be able to get points off of a kickoff if you get it through the posts.
I'm with you. Joe has brought up the point here, and it is something to consider, considering we are talking about linebackers. Bobby Wagner said he's willing to play on a 1-year deal for $11 million. Are you both out on that?
I don't mind the price. I don't mind the cost. Funnily enough, me and Paul were talking about this earlier. Don't mind the price. The cost, $11 million, when you look at it, overall, is fine. The issue is that he only wants to play on a 1-year deal. And that's my problem. Because he knows that he'll play on that 1-year deal. He'll show that he's still good enough, and then he'll double the price. That's the trouble. And then you're left with a fan base going, we want him back, and they don't bring him back. It creates controversy, creates the Lyle Collins, Randy Gregory issue we've had this season, and you're just right back in this massive whirlwind that we're in.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say this is Earl Thomas 2.0? And it was what we predicted would happen in our own group chat.
I think that's a fair comment to say.
Yeah.
It's a very similar sort of beast in that aspect.
Yeah. And Graham is agreeing with us. He says he's out on a 1-year Wagner deal. 1 year, then he's off again. So it's no for Graham. Yeah. I think we can all agree there. Jerry was talking to the press in the last couple of days. I don't think there was anything too controversial in what he said. He did say he spoke to Randy before Randy left, and whether this is Jerry just trying to deflect and said, he was out on the deal, and usual Jerry Jones talk of I never let anyone go that I didn't want to keep. So was there anything else you guys picked up in that quick interview with Jerry?
No, I did see the comments. I didn't listen to it, but I read the synopsis afterwards of what he said. And, it's typical off-season talk, like trying to basically move on from it all is what he's trying to do. He's just trying to say, okay, right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other things I've heard, not about that specifically, but just coming out of Jerry, and I'm not sure when it was. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or in the past couple of days, but saying that they want to take a lineman early.
Yeah.
Not just guard as well. They're looking at tackle, apparently.
Kenyon Green is well, funnily enough, I do a mock draft. Mike's Monday mock draft. Yes. And in this week's one, it was Trevor Penning. The Cowboys managed to take Trevor Penning. Aggressive O-line, tackle. And you get the right type of tackle. You can move him. You can kick him inside if needs be.
Yeah. Like I'm going to ask the question because this did come up when the guys were doing the mock draft 10 days or so ago. And Penning was still on the board. And I was screaming at them to take Penning, put him at right tackle. He can slip across to left tackle when Tyron gets injured. It's very much a case of get dogs in. That's what we need on this team, or guys with a bit of attitude. bit of a chip on their shoulder. Penning coming from, Northern Iowa, isn't it? FCS level team. That's what you want. Someone who wants to prove something.
Yeah. You always find, and like I've said before, with any guys if it's a group of 5 team, certainly FCS, you want them to be standing out like a sore thumb. Like I've said to you before, you want it to look like the competitive dad playing against his kids and winning. That's what you want it to look like. With Penning, it does. He's just, as I keep saying, one of my favorites say, he's throwing guys around like an empty tracksuit, and that is what he's doing.
Yeah. Rich, give us your own thoughts.
Pretty much exactly the same. The guy plays with just straight up dominance, really. He just chucks them around like they're nothing. Yeah, he is straight up aggressive. Violence is another word you could use, which some like.
And I do like that, because here's the thing: is when you go to a game, it's a lot easier for a guy whose motor is running too hot and telling them to calm down. It's easier for a guy who's playing too high to tell them to come down a bit.
It's easier to cool down than it is a warm up.
For a guy who's playing flat and with low energy, it's hard. You need to put a lot of energy to bring that guy back up. With Penning, that never happens. It is that way. He's playing too hard. Let's tend to calm it down a bit. That way is a lot easier than he's not doing his thing. He's too flat. He's too quiet. That's harder to bring up.
Yeah. Just bringing up Graham's comment here, he did say he took guard because they have Steele and they've no one left guard as way for
that
it.
is true.
And look, it wasn't. We're not saying Graham made an incorrect pick. Graham's pick still made sense. He took Zion Johnson with his pick, and it does fit what we need. It's a left guard, and it's not a position flex guy. So, and DJ Dog is making the point that the top 4 tackles will be gone before 24. Penning is in that group. We may see Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson. Absolutely, 100%. That is very possible. I mean, I think was 2 years ago, the top 4 guys were gone in the top 12 picks. All 4 offensive tackles.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I really liked Graham's pick was because it was a guy that you put him in that position and you ride or die, and that's it. You get continuity. Sometimes I think there is a bit too much moving around, and yes, a lot of it is typically by need, but I do think teams need to try and put a bit more emphasis on leaving players in certain positions and drafting or addressing free agency to people to slot into those positions, at least in the first instance, and then see where you go.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the Zion pick, like me and Brian spoke about it, it was the Friday, so it was literally the day after. And like I said, what Zion is good is because it's versatility with him and a lot of variance in what he can do. So what that is handy for is when you go to training camp, if you haven't already come up with a plan for him yet, that doesn't matter, because you can figure it out, because he's got so much to his game and so much in the bag. You could just go right, okay, free agency's over, we're here now, what are we going to do? And you just go, okay, and you could just look at the O-line and go, put Zion there, and that's your plan. That's it. That all is what you need to do with him. Whereas guys like Kenyon Green, Trevor Penning, all of those guys, you need more of a plan with them going in. Before you get to training camp, you need to be like, right, this is A, this is B, this is C. With Zion, there's none of that. You could just be like, yeah, okay. And you could just figure it out on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Just Graham was saying you could literally take any position on the line and it'd be an upgrade, which is quite scary. Very fair point to be making.
It's a good point, which is
Zach
why...
Martin.
Zach Martin is the only exception.
Yeah.
But that's why Linderbaum is still in the conversation, really, because he probably would be an upgrade at center. Problem is, you've got complete blank spots at 2 other positions, so you can't really afford to do that. So then you're probably forced into a position of saying, well, which one of these is your out and out first round pick? Is the highest quality, as much as you can tell in a draft, first round pick, which is going to give you the best value, because if it comes down to it and that's all you're going to do, then that's all you're going to do. And the sucky thing is, it is probably Linderbaum at that point.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just DJ Dog did bring up the point there that last year we were all set to take a cornerback, got wiped out, obviously, traded down, got an extra third rounder.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're if you're cleaned out, the top 4 tackles are gone, the 2 guards are gone, the center is gone. There's still enough talent in this draft that you could take a potential wide receiver 1 or a linebacker. So, you know, at 24, it's a lot harder to say where the board is going to be at 24 than where it was when we were at 10 last year. I mean, we knew there was three quarterbacks going to go off the board, and then you were going to lose a few players, but none of the guys would have potentially helped us. But if we move into the bones of the show, as we said, we're doing our second go round of linebackers tonight. So these are guys who we are going to be looking at on day 2 onwards. There are some really good guys in this mix. The first guy we're going to throw over to Rich, because Rich, when we said who the 6 guys we were talking about tonight, Rich was almost out of his chair. So Rich, talk to us about Leo Chanel.
Well, this is the thing. I've only looked at tape today. Like I said to you guys, I've not really been very. I've not been very involved in this.
That means you're fresh. That just means you're fresh.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I've come in, I've looked at everything, and I am really excited about Leo Chanel. He is, I think, a very good fit specifically for the Cowboys. He is. Well, the 3 words I've got down for him, 3 best traits is strength, his instincts, and his desire. He is extremely violent, very aggressive, very physical, very good on the pass rush and the blitz.
Yes.
He was very blitz heavy last year. Blitz heavy, rather. His instincts are top notch. They really, really are good. He has an insane ability to swim through traffic. And I mean, literally, it looks like he's swimming. Like, coming from a swimmer, it looks to me like he's in the pool, but he's moving over and around guys. He is, from looking at him, he's very much your kind of old school prototypical linebacker in that he's good at doing pretty much everything, but he excels up front, manhandling people and getting past linemen. He is really good at it. He went toe-to-toe and honestly spanked Linderbaum when they played on 2 consecutive plays. The first one, he got his pads in, and his strength in his hands is really good. Stood him up, got under his pads, and literally stood him up, and Linderbaum doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he's stumbling past him after he's thrown him aside, and he's straight through. The next play, it was 4th and 3, I think it was. Linderbaum tries to go low.
Who were they playing?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Iowa.
I'm not sure Linderbaum's team. This is how out of it I am, because I don't watch that much college football.
No, okay, sorry. I do apologize.
But no, that's fine. But anyway, on the next play, 2 consecutive plays basically, he spanked it. The next play, Linderbaum tries going low because it's on a 4th and 3, and they're obviously trying to get a bit of a sneak or get some short yardage going on, just get the first. Literally just swims over him. He just goes, nah, in with the left behind him, swims over the right, and he's passed, gets a tackle for loss, and it's a turnover on downs. And those aren't the only 2 plays. There was at least one I saw where he really had his number. He is really, really good at manhandling people and just getting past them. Like some of the other linebackers we'll look at, they are good at getting past or working around people with agility, and they'll fight at the line. He will go through the line, and he's playing in the backfield, which is perfect for the run game.
There's another guy like that we're going to talk about, but yeah, I mean, if you want to go watch a game, go watch him against Purdue. He is the defense in that game. The only thing I will say that goes against Leo is obviously that the Wisconsin scheme. It provides him a lot of movement back there. So because he's got time and movement in the second level, that plays to his strengths. So that is something you want to replicate in the NFL. Otherwise, he's going to get caught up in the reads a bit. And also, the only trouble I have with Leo is that, and I've been asked to give out the numbers because they are crazy. But one thing that is extremely notable with Leo straight away is that he's going to be an early down linebacker. He's not going to be a guy you can keep out there for all 3 downs. So if you are a team that doesn't really make much line changes on defense, he's going to be a guy that will easily get targeted on 3rd down. His arm length is very short, and he's never really been asked in Wisconsin, because of the style of game that they play, to really do much pass coverage. So not only can he not do it, he hasn't been asked to do it, and physically he's unable to do it. But everything else, once you start going through the testing numbers, he's a big lump. He's a lump of a guy. He's nearly 6'3", 250 pounds. So you're already at the 70th percentiles. So then his 10-yard split, which is quite important, and it is a testament to power. A 155, which is just phenomenal for a guy that size. His 40-yard dash was a 4.53, and then his jumps were all 95th percentile. A 41-inch vert and a 128 broad jump. It's like, what are you doing with that? And when you look at the scatter chart on it all as well, he's all out there on his own with it all. I tell you something that he's very reminiscent of, so much so, and he's so aggressive and so powerful. I can see him taking his helmet off and headbutting somebody just like Brian Cushion, and that's what he is. He's rocked up like him. He's rocked up like him. And I've got him down as a 3rd round grade, but I think he's one of them. Him and the other guy we'll speak about today, Brandon Smith, they're right on the very edge of the first group of linebackers. Yes. After that, it's these guys, and Leo and Smith are both there at the start of the next tier. But linebackers, I think they're going to go so quickly, so fast. Although I've got a 3rd round grade on Leo, I think he will probably go in the 2nd, because it's more of a supply and demand issue that will come out because of it. Agility is something that he's okay with. Yes. It's adequate, if you like, but I agree with you that what he is more than anything is a run defender who, and here's a good one, something that is a little understated. People who play the game will know what we're on about, but one of the things you want to try and look at with linebacker with run defending is people give it various names, like tackle drift or lost momentum is another word they use. And what that is when a running back hits the linebacker, because the running back's got momentum, they generally fall forward. But good linebackers can hold them up and stop that drift. Because if you hit that linebacker and they're not very good at standing up against a tackle and they absorb that, some running backs, even though you get tackled and bring it down, you can still get from that tackle 2 yards. So if the linebacker's already a yard back, by the time you get to 3rd down, if running backs know that you give up yardage on the tackle and you drift quite badly or you lose bad momentum, a running back's going to know. And he's going to go, I can get to 3rd down and be on 3rd and 1 just by running into this guy because his drift is so. But Leo, no, none of that. You watch him, it's literally, you may see 1 or 2 where he gives up a yard. And that's how crazy it is. Yeah. Go on, sorry.
I'm just going to pull up a comment here from DJ Dog. He was talking in terms of the numbers there. Do we really know if he can cover? Same was being said of Michael last year. A thought. And kind of
scheme is the issue. Wisconsin's scheme is the issue for him, that you haven't seen him do it. That he hasn't been asked to drop into coverage all that much.
When he has done it, this is the thing, and like it's mirrored in the numbers, because like you said, some of his numbers and his agility is a weird thing to talk about for me, because he's good and he's not. He's very light on his feet for how big he is, how big a guy he is, and what he does and how physical he is. He's very light on his feet, which is what helps him get through the line after first contact, after shedding that block. And his acceleration isn't good, but his top speed is. He's actually pretty good. But when he does look stiff sometimes. He's not. I wouldn't say agility is a good thing for him, but then you've got to give him dues in some aspects, like we've just said. And if you put him out in the open, tackling out in the open in coverage, he is going to struggle. He's going to be in the region.
Yeah.
In the plays I've seen him done it, he's in the region and he can basically, just by being in the area, he can stop passes. The scheme doesn't help him there, but like you said, you just don't know to a degree how good he actually is at that, because the scheme hasn't helped him in terms of putting that on tape. But from what I've seen, it's not terrible. It's just that not as good as him playing up front. That's where he excels.
From what you have seen, it is bad. It is where I'll disagree with you, but it isn't that much. Like, I mean, he was targeted 22 times and he allowed 20 receptions. So you could just use that as your baseline. But what that does say to you is that he isn't used that much in coverage. So you're looking at a double-edged sword with him, that there's not much experience, but he's limited by his physical capabilities. And he is a fast guy. Like you say, there's nothing wrong with that. His lateral agility, if you like, it's okay. It's adequate. But as in terms of when you think of, but when you think, like, when you move to the NFL and things are happening a lot faster and you're going to be dealing with things moving into a lot more faster, he is going to struggle in that sense. So that's why I always say he's a 2-down back. But given practice and time and technique, there's no who's to say where he can move up to. And the other trouble that I have with him is that although he has the strength in his hands and his lower half, his block deconstruction is fine. He can stack and shed, but you want to see more. Like, for a guy of his size and stature, you'd think he'd be able to turn a bit more easier, but it just sometimes he makes a tackle off block. And you just think, well, no, at least do something a bit better than that. Because he can do it, because he's doing it. He's almost 2-gapping, if you like, once he hits a blocker. And he can break away quite easily, but he's not going to deconstruct from his blocks as easy as the others. And apart from that, he did miss quite a few tackles last year, but it could have been more about what he was being asked to do. But the big one for me is change of direction, and the other one as well is his vision. He does tend to follow the quarterback's eyes way too much. You do see that a lot.
So, from the way you're talking there, this seems to be quite similar to the Devin Lloyd situation, in that not great in coverage, could easily be taught and learn up on that. So, given that the second round would be a premium pick, and you would probably have to pick him at 56. Is that a viable pick to make?
Yes.
Well, yes, because if you're the two main problems that you need to address, because it's not being done in free agency at the minute, is your offensive line and your run defense. Now, they don't put that much value on defensive tackle.
Yes.
So the next position you really need to look at to do that is a linebacker, which is one of the reasons I'm actually reasonably happy with this guy, because if you're going to ask him just to run block, then and stop the runner, then he's probably going to do pretty well at that, and that frees up then other people to do certain things. But it is a problem. There is going to be a concern, and he is going to get found out probably pretty quickly in the NFL, like Mike said, when it comes to pass coverage. So Mike's completely right in saying that he's a 2-down, or even if you take him out and then bring him back in to blitz. In certain situations, that's the only real way I see him playing 3 snaps.
He's mainly, and the reason why, because you say, like, you were talking of Devin Lloyd and all the rest of it. Devin Lloyd is more of an all-around linebacker. As we said on the show, he can do a bit of everything. Whereas with Leo, his physical more of his physical limitations and his reach and his length is what limits him to being able to be on third down.
Yeah. Just bringing up a few comments there as they were coming in, talking about Sam Williams. Given our private discussions last week, we'll not talk too much further on Sam. But a question here from DJ Dog, and he just brought it in. Realistically, if we're cleaned out with the top 7 linemen taken, Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean are available, and say Traylon Burks are there, who do we take?
That is a choice of riches, and this is actually a scenario that could very well happen.
Yeah, it is.
I do see, though, no matter what happens, out of Lloyd and Dean, one of those will be gone. So 100%,
definitely.
Because I will tell you now, Eagles are looking to take a linebacker, so that's going to be one of those two gone. If I really wanted to take one out of the two, it would be Dean.
Yes,
I just
Valenti
think that
is agreeing.
Yeah, it would be Dean. More, what's the best way to describe his athletic gifts are what I find very interesting. With Dean, with Devin Lloyd, like the issues I have, and I know we've spoken about him before, missed tackles, and he gets worn down very, very, very easily. So what you get from him in the first quarter in comparison to the fourth quarter is they're two different players. Whereas Dean, Dean is ticking on constantly.
So we've spoken at length about Leo Chanel. The next guy we're going to mention, and Paul has brought him up a couple of times, is Brandon Smith, who is another Penn State linebacker. So this is a guy who has played with Micah Parsons. He's a very good player. Again, I don't think he's a full 3-down linebacker. No. So again, are we looking at a similar player here to Leo Chanel in that he's good run defense, can hit, can swim, but he's not going to help you much in coverage?
I don't know about that, actually.
I disagree.
For me,
go ahead.
He's got a little of Isaiah Simmons to him, in that he's just very, very fluid. He's loose hipped. The issue with him, and it's a funny thing, that the issue with Brandon Smith is that it's something you keep saying with him, is it's always it all comes down to processing speed, that he makes up for a lot of deficiencies in all parts of his game at all the 3 phases by just how athletic he is. And I'll hit you with the numbers, right? Because honestly, this guy probably had the best combine that was out there, right? So straight away is measurements. When you go out there, his measurements are just insane. So 6'3.5", 250 pound, 90th percentile, an 81.5-inch wingspan, right? 98 percentile, 34 and 5/8 inch on the arm length, 98th percentile. And then you go into the athletic testing, 4.52 and a 40-yard dash, 38-inch vert, 128 broad, all 91st percentile or more. The guy is just, he is a monster. I know I'm talking a lot, so I'll let Rich kick in here.
Go on, Rich, give us your thoughts.
Give us your take.
Is this the guy that played 2020 as more sort of the hybrid guy, playing against the slot more, and then transitioned over? Or have I got my notes mixed up?
Played in the slot more. I know who you're thinking of. Yeah, not so much. No, right. I know who you're thinking of. Not this guy, but he did play. I can bring that up. He did play a lot in 2020 as a slot defender in comparison to the other years. But yeah, he isn't really that type of guy.
Yeah, because the notes I've got on him, and this is
on.
where I think I'm getting confused from listening to you, was
Mhm.
that very much he was the opposite of what Brian was saying at the start in terms of him being quite similar to Leo, in that he was very much better at the coverage side of things.
Yes,
and he was transitioning to a more traditional linebacker role, and it wasn't the smoothest. And to be completely fair to him, he's still learning the position, like that facet of the position, because of it being all round. And I think he looked like he struggled a bit with the increase in player size, to be honest.
Yeah, because he is quite a big guy, but he did play a lot in the slot last year. But he was doing it from the linebacker position, if you like.
Okay.
Yeah, DJ Dog is backing you up there, Rich, and saying that he didn't test as well as he thought he would. He's green and will need time to develop. So there will be a little bit of a learning curve there with him. Our own much beloved Paul Stewart is saying he wants to draft Brandon Smith and assign him number 54 so he can rewear his Jalen Smith jersey and pass it off as Brandon Smith. If ever there was a Scottish comment, that right there was a Scottish comment.
That is it. That's perfect.
And we do still love you, Paul.
He seems to me, Mike, is this a fair thing of, because like I said, I've only watched a certain amount of tape on him today.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that he's probably, at the minute, low floor, but the ceiling's potentially quite high? But it is a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, because it's all about instincts with him, and as you said, learning the linebacker position more, and it is true that is correct, and he is trying to find a feel for it, especially with Penn State. The way Penn State actually moves in the second level is there's actually quite a lot of movement when you watch it, like almost seems a little at times unnecessary. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I've never tried to figure it out or really bothered. It's one of them things where if it works, it works. So keep it going. And like I say, he does seem to have that Isaiah Simmons about him, that he's the big bulky guy that can play, that can cover. He's definitely different to Leo Chanel in that way. I can try and find my comp for him.
Yeah.
Where have we got it? As Baron Browning. But when you get into his run defense, he is very much the same as Leo in that way, that he can block, he can clog and cover as well. He's more of a guy you want to keep as the will, though. You don't want to be really trying to force him into the Mike or the Sam, because he's better coming defending off the edge more than anything, because like I say, the way the Penn State move the second level guys around a lot, what that does is it gives them more space so they don't have to come down and block, because when you see him block, he's going to struggle, especially with the stronger offensive lineman in the NFL, because that's where he struggles his strength. It's his upper body strength. He can't do it in that sense. So what you tend to find is he's much better when he can scrape. As a scrape defender, that's a bit easier for him.
Okay. So just bringing up the comment here, DJ Dog did say he agreed with us that he has high upside. And I mean, look, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys seem to have good luck with our Penn State linebackers. As we say, Sean Lee was replaced by not by Brandon Smith, by Micah Parsons. And, you know, like, if you were nearly being honest about it, Micah last season was the alpha. He was the leader of the defense. Replaced Sean Lee, who was, for the 10 years, I would argue, the 10 years he was with the Dallas Cowboys, Sean Lee was the leader.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I think DJ Dog has somehow gotten hold of our list of players for tonight, because he's just Montana State linebacker, has interesting college history, played quarterback in a Wildcat offense. So we're going to jump straight into that. And we are going to talk about Troy Anderson, because, again, it was another name that we brought up. This was the last player that we added to the list. There was between myself and Mike, we had a discussion about Henry Toto and Troy Anderson. So, Mike, this is your guy, so I'm going to throw it over to you.
He is right. It is crazy with what Anderson did in college. I mean, he played he played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, and he only started playing linebacker last season. So, like, here's the best way to describe like what you can say with each part of Troy Anderson. It is this simple, right? So, first of all, if you want him to play at linebacker, he's going to be a will, no matter what you say. But he's a will that, given over time, will be able to play the Mike linebacker, and we will be able to play it well. But whatever you say, you go, what's his tackling like? You go, yeah, it's good. He just needs better technique. So then you go, okay, what's his vision like? You go, it's good. He just needs better technique. And you find a common theme whenever you talk about Anderson. So you go, okay, what's his run defense like? Good. Technique. Blocking? Yeah, good. Just better technique. And it's just a common theme you get with him constantly over and over again. And I think it's because he only played linebacker or started playing it really full time that he decided that was what his position was going to be last season. So that's why you get a lot of these struggles with him. And he's explosive. He is a quality defender. He is a good linebacker. There's just a lot you need to work with to get there with him to be something. But the foundation of what you've got there with him is good.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much a match with what I've seen, really. I mean, the negatives I've seen of him, like you said, there's definitely that trend there in terms of it seems to be basically just experience and longevity because he's only done it a season. Yeah. He's definitely developmental in that aspect. The core stuff is there. He is a good guy. He's athletic. He's explosive. He's quite raw. And there's inconsistencies in wrapping tackles. Sometimes there's bad angles and overrunning. And he can kind of just go with the flow a bit against the run. Yeah. He does seem to be better in coverage, but he has got a really high motor and he plays through the whistle. So, which is something that obviously coaches love. So I completely agree. That's definitely the core stuff is there. It's just he's going to take a bit of time and needs to be coached. So as long as he's coachable and he receives it well and he takes it on board, he'd be perfectly fine. He'd be really good. I completely agree with Mike. He'll definitely start in weak side and he can progress probably quite well.
Into Mike, give it. But once, that once you've got his technique solidified in all the aspects, now you've got a Mike linebacker and you've got a good one. And size fits. The mold. He a 10-yard split of 151, which is just bonkers. 40-yard of 442, which is 98, and his broad jump of 128. So he's explosive and he's strong and he's quick. Yeah, and he's got the movements. He also has the physical capabilities because his arm length and his wingspan are fine, and you've got everything there that you need. It's just, and like you're talking about a guy here, just to give you an idea when you start talking about the type of player and athlete that he is, that this guy right here, you talk about, we talked about Zion earlier, about how versatile he is. Nobody in this draft is more versatile than Anderson by just the sheer fact he's played different positions on offense. Then he moves to defense. So it's a testament to not just how adaptable he is and how quick he is to learn, but also how athletic he is. Because to be able to play those various positions takes different types of body type, and he can do it all. And he has done it all. So it's just it just goes to show you. When I was going through it, you have like when you do your scouting, you've got charts and you put ticks and you put numbers next to it that gives you a final score to give you a round number. And every time you're doing it, everything with him is always just like, that's a good number. That's what it's like with him. There's no bad numbers in there. There's no obviously I'm not saying he's a perfect player and that he didn't have bad parts, because it is. And most of it comes down to technique and instincts, and play speed as well is another one. That he just needs to get his play speed up, and that will come over time. And once he gets it up, and the processing skills there, the athleticism's already there. So it's just the two will converge, and you've got to you will have a decent player.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a victim of his own success. Really, he just needs polish. That's all it is. He needs experience and he needs coaching, and he'll take it quite well. Because, like you said, a guy that can adapt that much and has that intelligence and the athleticism, he's going to take that on board pretty well, you'd think.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I mean, if we make the comparison, I mean, Rich and myself would talk a lot of rugby union, and I mean, if you have a guy, and this is what it sounds like, is you have a guy who can play as a flanker, but can also play as a winger.
Yeah,
he's not going to have the tackling technique, but you can teach that technique over time. Having the ability to actually make the tackle is the most important thing.
Yes, completely agree.
And it just bringing up the point, and DJ Dog has put in a couple of them there, you know, is that they can create sub packages to get him involved in terms of bringing him in on special teams.
Special teams, certainly.
Definitely. And, you know, you could use him as a wildcat quarterback or fullback inside the 5-yard line. You know, that's Conor McGovern's role, but I wouldn't say no to it. But I
was going to say it's not something you see regular, but then we made a bet with Rob Phillips that, McGovern was going to run in a touchdown. So, you know, I can't say that really. But, yeah, in terms of two-way play, he is going to be a two-way player, but I would say more defense, special teams rather than defense, offense.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, this is a guy you would draft to give him a year on special teams, allow him to improve that tackling technique, bring him in the second year, play him on that weak side, and, you know, allow his game to develop naturally, you know, rather than saying, bring him in, put him at weak side, and let him roll.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay. So the next guy we are going to look at is Darian Beavers out of Cincinnati. So again, this guy is ascending. I've seen him ranked anywhere from in the 200s into 77. So his talent is rising. He's a guy who was all over the place on a very good Bearcats defense in the last college season. So if either of you want to talk about Darian.
Yeah, so, I mean, first of all, transfer from UConn. So goes over to Cincinnati, who, you know, he transfers over 2021. And lo and behold, they go to the playoffs. There seems to be a pattern emerging. But no, I mean, I'm not saying he's the reason, but still, yeah. I mean, there is a lot to like with him. If I just bring up my report on him, hitting power, aims low, wraps, brings his feet through contact. So straight away, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, nice. Very thick, good length. I'll try and get his numbers up for you, and we can talk about that.
No jokes.
So this is a guy you are going to keep out there for all three downs. Definitely 100%. Broad jump, vertical jump, free cone, all in the 80th percentile or above. His wingspan, nearly 81 inches, which is 98th percentile. The guy is a monster. He is big. So you want to say, like, well, look, if he could do all of this, why is he lower than the other guys? It's speed and agility. So although the three-cone drill that he did was fine, you're not seeing it on the field. It was a bit of a surprise to see him do a three-cone under 7 seconds, if I'm honest with you. His change of direction, I would say personally, is when you see it on the field, is more of average. He keeps his hips high, and what's the best way to describe his speed and agility? Is that he's good doing it against tight ends. You do see that. That is good. But when you try to see him chew up grass on a back pedal and try and get depth, for some reason, and I don't know why, You don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be delayed. That's the best way to describe it. That's how I would call him. Apart from that, apart from that, do I have? I should have, because I pretty much almost finished this. Where are we looking? I'll try and find. I did just have his. There we go. Zaven Collins is a guy that I liken him to. Yeah, there's some other guys you could follow him up with. I think this is a guy you want to put more at Sam immediately or line or Mike possibly. Mike is a possibility. I don't know what you want to throw in on this one, Rich, but just to finish, what I think is that good instincts, good reactions in that sense, can find the ball in traffic, good strength to get off blocks, which is the other two guys or the other three guys we spoke about doesn't really have. And his pass rush ability is okay. It's not great, but it's okay, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And I'll leave the rest to Rich.
That's again, a lot of what I've seen in the limited tape I've watched is pretty similar. His lateral agility is a question for me. From what I've seen, it's from what Mike was trying to describe it seems like if he's in a position where it's a bit more downhill, and it's a play that you're like, oh yeah, you can tell pretty early on whether he's got it or not, and if he's got it, it's gonna look pretty lethal when he goes and plays through a guy. Otherwise, it's like he's probably going to struggle. I can't put my finger on it, but that's just sort of the impression I got watching it. Very fiery. He will fight at the line of scrimmage and tends to be quite smart with it. He's typically always around the ball, like you said. He's got a bit of a nose for it. His pass rushing, sort of like stand-up pass rushing. I agree with you. He didn't seem. He kind of has the speed and agility to a point to go around the outside, and there's plays where he does it. But this is a weird thing to say, but he seems to more lean than bend, which is a weird thing to say, but it just doesn't look natural watching him do it. It doesn't look the best. But he is good, and there's some stuff I saw where he was swimming through traffic as well, but he's always around the ball when stuff's happening. If there's a play where the ball's coming out, he's typically in the area. Whether it's him or not, he's in the area at least.
Yeah. I mean, like when you see him in coverage, he does. He can. It's delayed is the issue I have with him.
Yeah.
Like you see him doing that old Tampa 2 style, the Tampa 2 defense. So that requires the Mike linebacker, obviously, as you know, to try and chew up grass, and you'll see him do it, and he does do it quite well when he understands the role that he's doing. What's required. And that's the thing with him that you can say a lot about, is that because he does understand his role. I don't want to say that he doesn't understand his role, but sometimes there will be times where he seems to like as if he's used up his bag of tricks in a particular game.
Yeah.
So now he's run out of ideas, and he's limited to what, like, he's gone through the bag, and I don't know why, but it seems to be like he's gone through his bag of tricks, and now he's just like thinking to himself, so what am I supposed to do now? And that delays him. That's the best way to describe it.
Processing speed.
Yeah, I wouldn't say his processing speed. It just seems to be that there's something there that he just seems to think, right, okay, no, so now what am I doing? Like, because his processing speed's fine because he's done it for the previous 3 quarters. Do you know what I mean? And one of the other things that I think it was from, I'm trying to remember an interview. There's an interview from last year, and a lot of people were just saying about the type of character he is, that he's this high character type guy. That he is. That's him. He played wide receiver, played safety. Now here he is playing linebacker, as I say, initially at UConn, then transferred in 2019. One of the other things I think I did pick up on was that he will be, by the time the draft comes around, he'll be 24. So age is against him because he's a red shirt senior.
Yeah,
and that does drop you. That does drop you down some.
Yeah. One of the criticisms I saw, and again, I haven't viewed enough tape on him to be able to make this judgment myself, so I'm hoping you can tell me. But one of the things I saw earlier today was he doesn't seem to be very aware of things. Well, it gives the impression that he's not as aware of things happening around him generally, especially behind him. Do you think that's fair?
Not really. So what you're saying, that aware of what's going on behind him?
More or less, yeah. When he's in that position where he's got, like you said, when he's in Tampa 2 and he's got to basically chew up grass. And I'm wondering if this is part of the reason, not all of it, but part of why, like you said, he takes a second. Is it because of he's not as 100% aware of exactly where everyone is and what everyone's doing to then go, okay, this is what I got to do. It takes him a second or two, and then he's fine.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. How to really explain this is the best way I would say with him is that he understands. He has understanding of the play. If you like, that his instincts are fine for what he's doing in his particular play, albeit sometimes it will be delayed, as we said. But he does lack in terms of an understanding of the entire concept of what he's trying to do. So what he's doing in his particular part of the play is fine. He just doesn't understand the concept of it all, and you can understand that. Yeah. Understanding the play, understanding the play call, but not understanding the play concept.
Yeah. The question I would have then, Mike, coming out of that is that a function of the fact, as you say, he transferred from UConn to Cincinnati, and you just don't have that familiarity with your secondary and with your defensive line when you're trying to play essentially the Mike, which is the quarterback of the defense. So
that was what he was playing. Go on, sorry.
It's something that, this guy is not going to start day one, and he's going to be allowed that bit of time to develop the relationship with the defensive line, with the secondary. He'll get snaps in practice at middle linebacker, so it's not going to be as pressurized of a situation for him. So would drafting him then more suit what we're looking for?
I mean, you need to have a plan for him for definite going forward in what you need to do and how you plan to utilize him. Because although, they've done it across the Cowboys I'm on about now, they've helped themselves out those middle guys, the middle of the roster, with like guys like Washington and Fowler as well. They've helped the middle of that roster, but it doesn't mean that they're adverse from taking a guy at those positions. That includes them re-signing LVE, and I think a guy, if you wanted to, so like we did with Jabril Cox in the 4th round, because that's where I have Beavers is more of a 4th round guy. And I think that is where he's going to fall as well. That could be a guy like the same thing again. You get a repeat where they go, let's take this guy and know what we need to do, what our plan is, what his limitations are, and go from there. Like the trouble you're going to have is a lot of people, and it's always the last thing you did that people remember. And the last thing he did was stink up the joint against Alabama. And that's the trouble. Yeah.
And to be fair, a lot of players stink up the joint against Alabama because the last two players on the list, I have that point. But as you say, it is what's freshest in your memory. So, hopefully teams will look and go, right, this guy came in, transferred, started at Mike linebacker, didn't look out of place, maybe had a few issues, as Rich says, with trusting what was behind him. But it's something that can be worked on and can be developed. And kind of ties in here with what DJ Dog has added at the bottom, is he needs to trust his eyes.
Yes. Again, it's kind of hard to explain. Is that he's got the processing speed and he knows what to look at. It just seems to be that he's just a snap delayed. Like I say, that he runs through his bag of trips and all of a sudden then he's just like, what am I left to do? And you see that. And as as we were saying, it's he understands the play, he just doesn't understand the concept.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to brand it.
Yeah. So you have him in the 4th. Me,
I've got a 4th round grade on him, yeah.
Yeah. I've him edge of the 3rd, top of the 4th.
He's top of the. He's the very first 4th linebacker for me. The very first.
Potentially could rise depending on how things shake up. And let's not forget, we are within a month now of the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know what way things are going to move because, I mean, who was it 2 weeks ago? Tyler Smith. Guy nobody was talking about, and suddenly someone put him into a mock draft in their 1st round. And suddenly everyone was going, who's this Tyler Smith guy? Why do we need to look at him? So where he's ranked now does not hold to where he could potentially be ranked. Because you mentioned Jabril Cox there in a way for the Cowboys. And most of us last year had Jabril Cox in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
We got him in the 4th. So you just never know what way the draft will go, where guys will fall.
Yep.
And so hopefully he does fall to us in the 4th. But the last 2 guys we're going to talk about, I'm going to go with Quay Walker.
He's got to be
out
that way around.
of Georgia.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna leave the big nasty for last. So again, last year Georgia had an almost NFL defense. I'm just looking at my board. They had Travon Walker, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Darian Kendrick, Devontae Wyatt, Lewis Sine, Quay Walker, Nolan Smith. I mean, these guys are all going to
I was going to say, just don't you mentioned just the guys from this year's draft. Don't forget there's guys coming in the next draft who were just as nasty.
Yeah. But
sorry.
Quay Walker, take it away.
Very rangy, a big rangy athlete.
Big guy.
Very athletic, yeah. We was talking before, you feel his impact in the run game. That he was, when the D-line leaked, he was the guy who would come in and fill the hole. And he did fill the hole. Like I was talking earlier with Leo about, about the tackle momentum. Here's another guy that does that really effectively. Like there's literally none whatsoever. Like, put it this way, like Leo does have issues with falling off blocks. That's more of a technique issue with him more than anything. But with Quay Walker, that doesn't happen. Like literally in his entire collegiate career, he has totaled 7 missed tackles. That's it. And that's on 200, 150, so 350 on like 420 run defense snaps, which is just insane. 7 missed tackles. So it just goes to show you how he is. In terms of where you want him to play as an inside linebacker, a 4-3, that is for sure. I'm more of a run and chase guy, with all the rest of it. He is massive. Let's just start there. The wingspan on this guy, the arm length and the reach that he can put on. And bear in mind, this is a guy who's 6'4" and 240 pounds as well. So he just engulfs players. And we say with the momentum, that's mostly due to it, that he can wrap the guys up and hold them up. The issue with him, instincts are more, and we're going back to this again, his FBI is a hit or miss. It's going to go one way or the other. He'll be in the right place, and he's understand what he's read. He's read his keys, and he's in the right place, or he's second guessed himself. And I'm sure that's down to coaching. I'm sure he'd be able to figure that out. In terms, though, of having to take him off the field, you don't need to. He's there for all 3 downs because he's got the height, he's got the weight, he's got the athleticism, and he's got the reach. So you can just keep him out there and keep him going. No problems with him in terms of stacking and shedding blockers. Can do that as well. He's a guy that you can literally, if you drafted him, you can decide when you're in camp which of the linebacker positions you want him to play, because he can play all 3. He can play. He can play the Will, the Mike, and the Sam.
Rich, give us your thoughts.
Again, very similar. Instincts, from what I saw, was pretty good, but again, I'm limited in terms of the film I watched. Good fluidity in his hips. He can shift, backpedal, shift, turn around, and be gone. I've been negating routes pretty quickly. And he's also good fighting at the line of scrimmage. He can, like Mike said, he can get in there, he can fight, and then be shed in to then work on the next person. He tends to do that really well. The one thing I noticed about him, he very much seems to be, he has his job, he does his job, and he does it well. He plays fast and he plays smart, and he's very much a team player. He plays with discipline. And when one thing I liked about him is in coverage, when he's out playing man coverage out in the open, he plays with good leverage. He uses the field to his advantage, which is something that not very many guys tend to do very well. But he tends, I think he tends to do it pretty well. And obviously, you're limiting risk then in that side of things. He focuses more on tackling the guy than playing and contesting and playing the ball when it's coming in. Like he's coming down, like I said, he's playing with leverage. He's not looking, he doesn't get to the point, and he's not tempted to look over the quarterback to see what's happening to try and play the ball. He's sticking on his man and he's taking him out, and that's it. So he's keeping everything. It enables the defense to keep everything then in front of them, because he's not slowing down, because he's not looking where he's going. You got that natural slowdown to enable them potentially to play the whip around the inside. It's literally just they're going to hit at some point. He's on an intercept course, and he's going to get there because he has got the speed. Not the strongest out of everyone, I think, at the lightest line of scrimmage, but he's got fight in him, and he's got smarts, and he's good.
He is good at the chase. Go on, sorry.
The one note I had, and Mike, you brought it up there in terms of his FBI, is that it's a bit spotty. But this is a guy who's only not started playing linebacker, but he only started at linebacker from 2020. And what I see in terms of drafts and boards is Quay Walker is a guy who keeps moving up boards. He's gone from the close to 100 into the top 50, moving into the 40s and late 30s at this stage. So there is that room for growth there with him, and teams seem to be looking at that now rather than saying this is a guy who's going to come in and start straight away. We'll use him in packages, but we're not going to expect him to be an impact guy straight away.
100%. Like you say, the issues with him, like with his vision and his instincts, is that he started in 2020, and he didn't even start straight away. It was about a third of the way into the season that he started in 2020. And that was really, that is the main issue, because you do see it, especially on like misdirections. So misdirection run plays and play action passes, he will bite on them. You see him flow that way, and it's just down to experience and natural instinct from playing, because he hasn't had the chance to do it yet. His starting experience is the issue.
Yeah.
Yes. There we go. That's that guy.
Yeah, so that's that guy, Mike. I can tell Mike is excited for the last guy that we are going to talk about. So, when I was studying tape of Nakobe Dean, when I was looking at tape of Trayvon Walker, when I was looking at Jordan Davis, one guy kept disrupting my attention. This is a guy who I kind of laid the seed there a few minutes ago. Is his best tape this year was against Alabama, but his worst tape this year was also against Alabama.
That sounds about right, mind.
You know, he had a terrible SEC championship game, but then most of the Georgia defense did. They resurrected themselves in the championship game. So we are talking about Big Nasty himself, Channing Tindall, linebacker out of Georgia. So Mike, take it away.
Yeah, well, he was the unsung hero almost on that defense, because it's easy on that Georgia defense to get lost in just like the talent pool of it all. But this is a guy who just has an instinct for the ball. He's got a nose for the ball, will find it, will pick it out, and his trigger when it goes is done. What, though, I would say in terms of what you want from him is to be more of the attacking linebacker on the team because of his strength. And he's got good blitzability that when you ask him to do it. And he can spy as well. So, you've got that feel for it. He's got the feel for it. Good, I would say not good, probably more elite speed for a linebacker. I'll bring his numbers up in a moment. Just like literally another guy who will not let running backs drift over him. He will go the other way. He will run over running backs because he's just so aggressive, so nasty. He's going in there to hurt someone. But that is also his problem, is that he tries to come in at full speed. So there's like this wild play style, especially on that Georgia defense, where you're not looking for it. You're looking for more gap integrity and to keep the line. And this is why they would make Channing Tindall the lost guy. Why some people, when you talk about the Georgia defense, he gets lost because he was never a starter for them. More because of just that wild play style that he has. And I'll just try and get the numbers up while I'm chatting away here. Just to give you an idea that when you start talking about it, that arm length's good, but then you just go into the athletic test scores and it's 10-yard split, 40-yard dash, vert, broad jump, and you just go, okay, 90%, 95%, 98%, 95%. That's all you just need to say. You just need to say, and you just go, okay, so the guy is a demon. And you just go, yeah. And just some simple stuff that you can go into with him is that he managed to get a very decent amount of production and to help their defense and help them win the college football playoffs. And he got all of this and all of his statistics as well when you look through it, and he was never a starter. He did it all without being a true starter on that defense. So you just like go, wow, and you go, yeah. And he was rotated out quite a bit.
Yeah. Rich, give us your thoughts.
Again, very athletic, explosive speed, violent, solid tackler. And a lot of what I saw was spying. Did he have, because again, I've watched limited film, was that basically his role, more or less, last year? Because I didn't see him doing very much in coverage. Was that just, he just wasn't given that much to do? Is that like a general trend, or?
Georgia scheme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
you more than anything as well with Channing, you're going to want to put him as that, as you say, as the attacking linebacker for definite. You want to give him that. I'll try and get his stat numbers up now. So this year, 5.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 67 total tackles. So that's just going off that. And then, but when you go off the other years, and bear in mind he's done that not as a start, as a rotational piece there as well. Have I got his snap count? Defensive snaps. Yeah. So if you just get his previous 2 seasons, 75 snaps was the most. This year, then, or last season, 474 snaps. So it's not a great deal, but he still manages to get a lot of it done. But he wasn't used in coverage all that much at all. No.
Yeah.
More down to scheme.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the additional benefit you're going to have with having Channing Tindall is he has the ability to be your core special teamer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we have re-signed Luke Gifford for next season. But, I mean, Luke Gifford is a guy you could very easily cut to make room for Channing Tindall and allow him to, as you say, to bring him in spots at linebacker, as a spy, as a guy who can blitz as well. And, just let him have small packages of games. Don't be relying on him as one of your main 3 guys. But there is an ability there and can play multiple as well. Like, Georgia primarily play a 3-4 defense. So with Dan Quinn saying he wants multiple front scheme, he has that ability to fit in as a 4th linebacker if needed. Yeah.
If they take Tindall, I'm totally happy with that. It does, where that's going though. If they are, I don't know if they will. Hold on, what grade have I given him? 3rd round grade. So
3rd,
yeah, it's close. That's close to the edge, depending on what they want to do. Although they get the extra picks, which they can probably use. They could probably use those compensatory picks to try and help get themselves maybe an extra 4th pick or move up in the 3rd if they want to try and get him. Don't know if they're going to want to do that, though. I'm not sure. Because I've got a funny feeling those 5th round compensatory picks, at least one of them is going to be used on special teams.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're looking at one of Cameron Dicker or Cade York being used with those 2 picks. Obviously, the re-signing of Brian Anger has meant we're not going for punt god himself, Mal Ariaza. But yeah, DJ Dog is agreeing with us a lot in terms of Georgia guys and saying, that they're physical freaks, a lot of speed. And he did also say that Lewis Cine is one of the hardest hitting safeties he's seen in the draft. So again, I don't think we're going to go wrong if we draft a player and the college they come out of is Georgia.
Yeah. And I mean, like, what's crazy to say is, like, you're talking, while we're on the subject of safety, is that safety, cornerback, and it's very weird to say, it doesn't feel right, is not a concern for the Cowboys this season in the draft. You were saying before, I don't see them drafting a safety, and you go, they don't need to. They probably, like, when we had special guest on Thursday, help me out.
Jeff Kavanagh.
No, last Thursday, just gone.
Oh, my God. That's really another on the spot.
This is bad. Anyway, when we were speaking to that, when we were mind just gonna bug me. That when we was talking last week, it was just like, it's very strange. Doesn't mean to say that they won't go and get another defensive back, but I do feel confident with them. And when you go through the safety position, and we went through the NFC East saying yay or nay. That when we was going through it, we was just like going safety, and we were going Yeah, that's good. You know, I'm happy with safety for the Cowboys. They win the NFC East on this one. And you know, it's a regular theme now with that defense. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once because I feel like, especially if he's watching. Kyle Yeomans, there we go.
Kyle. Oh man!
How could I?
Kyle, we do love you.
I'm sorry, Kyle.
I'm sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
20 past 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, clocks have gone forward.
Oh.
But Mike, you did touch on something I wanted to comment on, and I posted it about an hour before we came on the show.
Yeah, sure.
Someone in their infinite wisdom ranked the quarterbacks in the NFC East today.
Oh, God.
And Dak Prescott was second.
Infinite and wisdom are not the two words that I would use to describe this person, me personally, with the greatest of respect to him as a human being.
I bear in mind, and I put his comment he made at the time up, that he said before Dak got drafted, he said Dak is at best a backup tight end in the NFL. And I'll just leave that there for you to play with.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible, man.
I mean, I think he's definitely proven that pundit to be entirely wrong, and will continue to do so next season when the Washington football team draft a quarterback and don't even use the quarterback they traded for in this offseason.
Yeah. There we
go,
go, then.
There we go. We've wrapped up our linebacker coverage. Which section are we covering next week, Mike? I know you have the agenda. Are we flipping back around to wide receivers?
Yeah. The next batch of wide receivers next week.
Next batch of wide receivers. So that will be Tuesday. Mike and the team are back on Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Mike, you have a special guest if you want to announce it.
We do. We have Jeff Kavanagh coming on to talk about Sky Moore.
So if you want to hear about an hour's coverage of Sky Moore and Sky Moore only, make sure you tune in on Thursday night. Before we get out of here, we do have to pay the bills, quite obviously. So, Rich, take it away.
Oh, God, you're going to put me on the spot, man. I was doodling. Right. COVID now hopefully is all over. Lol. What's COVID? No one remembers. Cowboys Experience. If you manage to head over to a game next year, hopefully everyone does, hit up our guys at Cowboys Experience. They are insanely good. The experiences you get, the meet and greets, the tailgating, the special packages, the little bit extras, absolutely phenomenal. I know the guys in the group have done it. A lot of guys, Paul's done it, I know. But if you're going to book it, for the love of God, use the discount code UK Cowboys. Because when you do, you get free stuff. And everyone loves free stuff, especially Scottish people. Don't forget to check out our fellow content creators as well. All these guys are listed here. And there are many more. Go out, find them, give them love. Share them all as much as you want. Because more opinions makes you a better rounded person and a better rounded scout as well.
This is true.
So it is a good night from me. Passing the baton over to Mike for Thursday night.
Thank you kindly. Yes, so we'll see you all on Thursday.
You can try to break me. I cut my teeth on people like you. It's gonna take a lot more to take me down. I'm a step ahead, watch me wear my crown. Don't need a night to guard the cave. Can count the dragons that I've slayed. You can give it all you got. Cause love is running through my veins. Oh, this lion can't be tamed. There's fire.